Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 226. Terumi who was hit. How long do you think Terumi can last? Asked Xiangchen, looking at Terumi who was dodging in embarrassment. How do I know this? I still have to look at Xiangchen. If Xiangchen doesn't release the water, he can defeat Terumi with one move. Xiangchen shook his head and said, now the strength gap between Terumi and Conan is really not that big. After a long time, Xiangchen finally stopped the paper escape attack, but still flew in the sky, and Terumi could only stare at the sky in a daze. Because Terumi can't fly at all, although Terumi has also learned the 6th Navy form, but the 6th Navy form is not so easy to cultivate successfully. Flying in the sky is nothing, you can come down if you have the ability. Terumi shouted loudly with a blushing face. Xiangchen smiled and said in a slightly excited tone, you can come up. Terumi had no words. If she could fly up, would she still be yelling here? If you don't, just admit defeat. This way you will look better on your face. Xiangchen said softly. It's impossible for me to admit defeat. Terumi's face was stubborn. She had her own arrogance in her heart. How could she admit defeat? Even if she is defeated by Xiangchen, Terumi will never surrender. This is her principle. Water escape water dragon bomb. Terumi shouted softly. A huge water dragon rushed into the sky, targeting Xiangchen. Facing the water dragon released by Terumi Mei, Xiangchen was not at all panicked. The thick cold air came from her body, and the water dragon turned into an ice dragon before it reached Xiangchen. The ice dragon suddenly turned around and attacked Terumi. Terumi's brows furrowed tightly. This frozen fruit is too powerful and too difficult to deal with. If it is an ice escape, it needs to be sealed, and frozen fruit does not need to be sealed at all. And the ice made by being done is not so hard. Facing the menacing ice dragon, Terumi threw her fist on the ice dragon, and then Terumi was knocked away dozens of meters, but the ice dragon was not damaged at all. This is too hard. Terumi frowned as she looked at the bleeding right hand. Not only did this punch fail to smash the ice dragon, but he was injured instead. Fortunately, she has a perfect immortal body, and the injuries on her hands have almost recovered. Terumi tried hard to think about the solution to this ice dragon, but the reality didn't have so much time for her to think. During the time she was contemplating, the ice dragon had already flown over. Terumi can only hurriedly avoid and deal with the ice dragon made by Xiangchen. At the same time, she is also very aggrieved and beaten. Xiangchen was only controlling an ice dragon, and she was about to push herself into a corner. If she made a full effort, Terumi didn't dare to imagine what it would be like. Anyway, she was very hit now. Fire escape fire dragon firebomb. Seizing an opportunity, Terumi seized the time to use the fire escape, trying to see if it could melt the ice dragon. The collision of fire and ice. In the end, ice was better, but the ice dragon also showed signs of melting. Looking at the melting ice dragon, Terumi was slightly overjoyed, and then quickly formed a seal with both hands, shouting, fire escape. The fire is extinguished. The arrogant fire, which was stronger than the fire dragon flame bomb, finally melted the ice dragon, and Terumi was slightly relieved, and it was finally solved. Seeing Terumi relieved, Xiangchen smiled darkly, and then 10 ice dragons appeared out of thin air and flew towards Terumi at the same time. Terumi's beautiful little face wrinkled. One ice dragon is already so difficult to solve, and now 10 more are brought to her, and she is not allowed to live. Terumi glanced at Xiangchen in the sky resentfully, and really didn't give her any face. 10 ice dragons are not as simple as 1 plus 1. If she wants to use the method just now, it is impossible to melt the ice dragons. If it weren't for the face problem, Terumi wanted to admit defeat, and she now admits that she is indeed not Xiangchen's opponent. Okay, stop, Xiangchen said. Xiangchen nodded when he heard the words, and the ice dragon who was chasing Terumi turned into ice chips and disappeared. Terumi took a long breath, and then said stubbornly, I haven't lost yet. Why stop? Ha tilde, I must admit that you are weak, and you will only be more embarrassed if you fight again. Xiangchen fell from the sky and said softly. This time, Xiangchen didn't use any really powerful moves at all. Obviously he was showing mercy. Terumi felt 10,000 tons of damage. Very sad. Is she really that weak? For a long time, she thought that her strength was similar to Xiangchen, but she didn't expect the gap in reality. It was simply heaven and earth. I'm going to practice hard too. Xiangchen, you wait. I'll take revenge. Terumi clenched her fists tightly. Xiangchen didn't even look at her, and trotted to Xiangchen's side. Brother, have I just been amazing? Xiangchen looked at Xiangchen with anticipation. Ah. Of course Xiangchen is amazing, but defeating a Terumi isn't something to be happy about. Xiangchen rubbed Xiangchen's hair and said. Ah. I'm so off. Terumi yelled, feeling too heartbroken. What is it that defeating a Terumi is not worthy of joy? That's right. There's really nothing to be happy about. Xiangchen nodded lightly and looked at Terumi with a full smile. Terumi gritted her teeth, and if she could, she really wanted to bite them to death. Sister Xi, won't you comfort me? Terumi looked at Xi with pitiful eyes. How can you let me comfort you? Who made your strength so poor? Xiangchen made another stab at Terumi. Am I really weak? The successive blows made Terumi squat on the ground and questioned silently. Xiangchen came to Terumi and said softly, with your talent, as long as you really want to improve your strength, it's still very easy. I'm afraid you don't work hard. Xiaonan's practice was very serious before. If you want to catch up with Xiaonan, you need to work hard. Yeah. Terumi nodded firmly. I won't be so embarrassed next time. Terumi stood up and shouted firmly to Xiaonan. Then Terumi looked at Xiangchen, hugged his arm and said coquettishly, teach me a powerful ninjutsu. I must become stronger than Xiaonan. Xiaonan was a little unhappy, mainly because she saw Terumi hugging Xiangchen's arm, and she was a little jealous. HMPH you're younger than me. Remember to call me sister in the future. Xiaonan hugged Han in both hands and snorted. I wouldn't call you sister. A little bit. Terumi mischievously made a face at Xiaonan. If I knew it earlier, I wouldn't be merciful. Xiaonan said angrily. Xiaonan looked annoyed, but Terumi was complacent. The eyes of the two women collided, and Xiangchen could feel the strong electric sparks. Xiangchen showed an interested expression next to her, wishing that Xiaonan and Terumi would fight again. Chapter 227 Mirror Clone. Terumi has entered a state of crazy cultivation these days. This flying thunder technique is so difficult. I can't learn it at all. Terumi complained. Although Xiangchen gave her hands-on instruction, Terumi seemed to have no talent for space at all. After several days of study, she didn't see any entry. This is S-level space ninjutsu. Do you think it's so easy to learn? If you want to succeed in training in a few days, how can it be that simple? Xiangchen tapped Terumi's head. It hurts. Terumi squatted on the ground holding her head, looking at Xiangchen with big tearful eyes. You know how to bully me. Xiangchen sprouted blood from Terumi's cute appearance. Get up quickly. Xiangchen reached out and pulled Terumi up. Damn, this guy is acting cute again. Xiaonan said angrily in the distance. In the blink of an eye, several months have passed. During these months, Xiangchen has been staying in the system space to teach Terumi. Under the guidance of Xiangchen, Terumi combined the changes of the two chakra properties of fire and earth to develop the limit of the blood and blood. There is also a boiling escape that combines the changes of the two chakra properties of fire and water. One person has two boundaries of blood, and Terumi, not to mention how proud, challenged Xiaonan the next day. The final result is self-evident. Although Terumi's strength has improved a lot, but compared with Xiaonan, it is simply too far behind, and she was beaten by Xiaonan. I feel like my two bloodline boundaries seem to be a little weak, Terumi said, pulling Xiangchen's arm after being beaten by Xiaonan. It's okay. After you learn the fairy mode, you will become stronger. Xiangchen said. Wrong done and boiling done can cause damage to Suzu, but they are not weak, and of course they cannot be said to be strong. Compared with Chen done and Mu done, it is definitely incomparable. Do you have a very powerful ninjutsu that can defeat Conan's ninjutsu at once? Terumi asked eagerly. Yes, but you can't learn it. Xiangchen said with his hands spread out, asking for Dao and Six Paths Immortal Art, which Terumi can't learn at all. Terumi lowered her head depressedly. In fact, Xiangchen has a way to make her leap to the 6th level in one step, just like Otsutsuki Yue. He gave Indra and Azura Chakra the reincarnation of the 6 yin and yang power, which can make them go to the sky in one step. However, everything has a price. Although it looks wonderful to enter the 6th level in one step, it is almost impossible to go further in the future. I really don't know why you are so obsessed with defeating Xiaonan. Of course you don't understand. Terumi was arrogant. She wanted to defeat Xiaonan just to prove herself and then get back on her feet. I recently developed a very powerful ninjutsu. Although it is impossible to defeat Xiaonan, it can also increase your strength a lot. Do you want to learn it? Xiangchen asked. Learn? Of course I want to learn. Terumi asked excitedly. What kind of ninjutsu is it? A clone technique. Cut. I thought it was some kind of powerful ninjutsu, but it turned out to be just a clone technique. Terumi looked disdainful. Xiangchen felt very unhappy at the disdainful look on Ming's face. What are you looking down on? Let me tell you, my avatar is amazing. I can separate an avatar with the same power as the main body. As long as the chakra is not exhausted, it can always exist. So powerful? Terumi doubted. Of course, after all, it's the ninjutsu I developed. Can it be amazing? Sun Xiangchen said as a matter of course. Terumi secretly complained. It's really narcissistic. Are you speaking ill of me in your heart? Xiangchen asked suspiciously. No, no. How could I speak ill of you? Terumi smiled awkwardly and waved her hand. This is the mirror avatar technique. You can learn it. Xiangchen handed Terumi a ninjutsu scroll that recorded the mirror avatar. Terumi quickly brought it over. The mirror clone has all your strength and can use all the ninjutsu of the main body, including the Xi boundary, which is equivalent to copying another you. Xiangchen introduced the metamorphosis of the mirror clone. However, at this time, Terumi was already immersed in the ninjutsu of mirror image clone, and she didn't hear what Xiangchen was saying. The ninjutsu of mirror image clone is not very difficult to learn, and Terumi quickly learned it. Ninja mirror image clone. There was a slight fluctuation next to Terumi, and a mirror image clone exactly like Terumi appeared from nothing. At this time, except for the developer of the mirror clone, Xiangchen. Even if the immortals of the Six Paths came, they could not tell which one was the main body. Let's fight. Terumi threw a fist at the mirror image clone. The mirror clone also punched back, and with one punch, the two quickly retreated. The strength is exactly the same. You can use the wrong done to show me, Terumi said. As a clone, it really has no human rights. The mirror clone spread out his hands helplessly, and then used wrong done and boiling done. The power was exactly the same as Terumi's own use. How is it? The effect is good, Xiangchen said proudly. 1 + 1 is greater than 2. The combination of the main body and the mirror avatar? The strength is not just as simple as two people. It's not bad, but after the strength has improved, the split mirror clone still has the full strength of the main body. Terumi lifted the mirror clone and asked her most important question. Of course it's impossible, but that's after the 6th level. The mirror image clone from the 6th level has only 80% of the strength of the main body, Xiangchen said softly. As for Xiangchen's own use of the mirror clone is only 30% of his strength at most. For him, this mirror clone is a bit of a waste, and it is not as easy to use as the wooden clone. For Xiangchen, the only advantage is that the mirror clone can also use the power of the devil fruit, which is not the limit of blood. Anna-chan, I want to learn too. Xiaonan, who has been observing the situation here, ran over and said coquettishly while holding Xiangchen's arm. Xiangchen's heart beat violently for a while, and Xiaonan sprouted blood, and immediately handed the mirror image clone to Xiaonan. Lust is obsessed. Terumi pouted and said, very dissatisfied. Xiaonan glanced at her proudly. Terumi was furious and stared at Xiaonan with 1.5 eyes, but Xiaonan did not show weakness, and also glared back. Come on, let's start again. Xiangchen looked at the two girls who had turned on the mutual staring mode, and simply walked away neatly. Anyway, it's not the first time for the two of them. At the beginning, Xiangchen still had the heart to persuade, but now he doesn't even have the heart to persuade. As long as the two women don't really fight, that's fine. However, after Xiangchen left, the two women stopped looking at each other, both snorted coldly, and then Xiaonan turned around and left. It's abominable, Terumi said angrily, and then began to practice hard. Her practice is mainly the 6 naval styles. Because Xiaonan can fly, Terumi has an unprecedented obsession with the 6th form of the navy. If she can't fight in the sky, wouldn't she have to be crushed all the time? Chapter 228 Lalu drawing. What do you think? Xiangchen hugged Xie from behind and asked softly. Xie, who was suddenly hugged, was startled, and then turned around and gave him a roll of eyes. You scared me, don't you know? I really don't know this. Should I compensate you? Xiangchen hugged Xie, sniffed the fragrance of her hair, and said with a look of enjoyment. Compensation? What do you want to compensate me? Xie asked curiously. Ha ha ha. Of course I will compensate you. Do you want it? Xiangchen laughed. I'm the only one who wanted you to be this weird slut, Nizongkai. Xie said in a cute little voice. It really makes me sad. I love you so much, yet you actually let me go away. Without you, my life has no color, so let me die. Xiangchen said sadly. Ha ha. Xie smiled contemptuously, and then said, don't you still have Tsunade, Mikoto, Kushina, Xiaonan ... the men your life? Xiangchen looked embarrassed. Xie, you really hurt my heart so much. Humphrey, I don't know who is alone with others, who hurts whose heart. Xie looked at Sun Xiang 13 Chen resentfully, as if she was watching a heartless man. Facing Xie's eyes looking at the heartless man, Xiangchen felt very uncomfortable, looked at Xie's cherry lips, and then went down gently. Xie did not dodge, closed her eyes and gently enjoyed the beauty. There was no one else here, only the two of them. Xie's requirements are not high. She just hopes that Xiangchen can take time to accompany her alone, so that she will be satisfied. What are you doing? Xiaonan's voice came from a distance. Xie's body trembled, and then she quickly pushed Xiangchen away. Her face flushed red, and Xie felt embarrassed when she was bumped into by someone for the first time. But the feeling of being electrocuted made Xie feel very infatuated, and sometimes she really wanted time to stand still at that moment forever. Xiaonan walked over from a distance and looked at Xiangchen and Xie with suspicious eyes. In fact, she did not see Xiangchen and Xie picking up when. However, a woman's sixth sense is very strong, and Xiaonan, a Lilai, is no exception. She instinctively feels that these two people have just done something bad. That Xiaonan, let's talk with you two. I'll go first. Xie immediately dodged and left, but her self-assurance made Xiaonan 100% sure that they were just doing something bad. Brother, did I disturb you just now? Xiaonan was expressionless, staring at Xiangchen with a cold face. Xiaonan, how come you, like Jixin Ai, became a vinegar vat? Humphrey tilde. Xiaonan snorted softly, and then said, since it's my fault for disturbing my brother, let me make it up to you. Saying that, Xiaonan jumped up, 2 paper wings appeared behind him, and Xiaonan kissed Xiangchen's lips. Xiangchen's eyes widened. He didn't expect Xiaonan to be so bold, which made Xiangchen not believe that this was a gentle and well-behaved Xiaonan. After a long time, the two separated, and Xiaonan's face was flushed. Just now, she was impulsive and went up to Wen. Now that it was over, Xiaonan felt shy. Glancing at Xiangchen, Xiaonan quickly fled. Feeling the sweet taste in his mouth, it took a long time for Xiangchen to completely regain his senses, smiled gently, and then appeared in front of Xi in an instant. It's so embarrassing to be seen by Xiaonan. It's all the fault of Xiangchen. Xi sat on the grass and said to herself, "What do you blame me for?" Xi raised her head to see Xiangchen, shouted, then crossed her legs with her hands, and looked at Xiangchen vigilantly, as if she was guarding against wild beasts. "Am I that scary?" Xiangchen had a black line. Unexpectedly, Xi nodded sharply, making Xiangchen feel more depressed. "I'm here to find you to draw a lottery. This raffle opportunity is giving away this year." "The lottery? Didn't you say you want to save it?" Xi asked suspiciously. A month ago, Xiangchen said that he would accumulate lottery opportunities, and then there would be a 5 or 10 consecutive draws. 5 draws and 10 draws are still too far away. I think about them first. Xiangchen shook his head and said, "Then you can smoke it yourself." "Why did you come to me?" Xi looked at Xiangchen speechlessly. "Doesn't this feel like an atmosphere?" Xiangchen pulled out the lottery turntable, and then shouted, "Lottery!" Looking at the rapidly turning pointer, Xiangchen was very afraid of accidentally breaking it. "All right." Xiangchen's worries are completely unnecessary. The pointer stopped soon, and the real prize was about to be revealed, and Xiangchen's heart lifted slightly. Every time the lottery was drawn, Xiangchen couldn't restrain his inner excitement. After the prizes were announced, Xiangchen and Xi looked a little weird. This time, a creature was actually drawn in the lottery, with a white body, a blue bowl cover, and hair separated by 2 flat red horns inserted in the middle. It is actually a Pokemon Lalu Lassie, or a Flash Lalu Lassie. Flickering Laluras. I didn't expect to be able to draw Pokemon, Xiangchen said happily. Pokemon Xiangchen likes it very much, and his favorite is Shayna Ido's, and the final evolution of Laluras is Shayna Ido. Hurry up and give me Lalu Lassie. Xiangchen looked at Xi and said slightly excitedly. Xi took out a Pokeball and handed it to Xiangchen. After Xiangchen took it, he quickly released Lalu Lassie. The blue flash of Laluras just left the Pokeball, and looked extremely flustered. After looking around, he saw Xiangchen. "Lalu Lalu Lalu Lassie!" exclaimed excitedly twice, then ran over and hugged Xiangchen's legs, and began to act coquettishly. Xiangchen was very happy, squatted down and picked her up. "Lalu Lalu Lalu!" drawing was very happy. "You really are a Loiken. You've already got a stone hammer, and you don't have to wash it," Xi said faintly, looking at Xiangchen, who was holding a superpower Lali with a happy face. Xiangchen was busy teasing Lalu Lassie at this time, and didn't pay attention to Xi's words at all. "By the way, do you want to take a look at Lalures's attributes?" Xi asked. "No need. Anyway, I don't need Lalu Lassie to help me fight. Just be a mascot." Xiangchen stroked Lalu Lassie's bowl cover and said, "Lalu." Lalu Lassie tilted her head and looked at Xiangchen suspiciously. "Haha, it's really cute." Xiangchen hugged Lalu Lassie and put her on top of his head. Lalulas hurriedly lay on Xiangchen's head, not daring to stand up at all, looking like she was afraid of heights. Aware of Lalula's unease, Xiangchen took her down, and then took Lalula's out to play. Lalula's was just born and was very curious about everything outside. She looked at the red flowers and green grass and made a lovely voice. Chapter 229 Being Scolded by Apprentices. Is there anything that can make Lalu Lassie talk? The big toads in the ninja world can talk, but the lovely Lalu Lassie can't speak. Xiangchen hugged Lalu Lassie and found Lalula's has telepathy. When she grows up, she can communicate with each other when she is familiar with it. I know this, but is there any ability to make Lalu Lassie speak? Xiangchen asked. Of course. But you can't afford it, Xi said softly. How much do you need? 30,000 exchange points. It's so expensive. Isn't this a robbery? It's not a powerful ability. Xiangchen is very dissatisfied. He now has 10,000 exchange points left. How to buy it? Lalu, seemingly aware that Xiangchen was unhappy, Lalu Lassie, who was standing on Xiangchen's shoulder, reached out and touched his cheek, comforting Xiangchen. Look at how cute Lalu Lassie is. Can it be cheaper? Xiangchen rubbed Lalu Lassie's hair and said to Xi, I can't do anything about the price set by the system, but I can give you credit. Xi spread her hands, looking very helpless. Alright then. Xiangchen nodded. A warm soft light appeared on Xi's hand, and she gently stroked Lalu Lassie. Lalu Lassie hugged Xiangchen tightly, looking very scared. Lalu Dad, I'm so scared. Lalu Lassie's soft and cute voice was slightly panicked. Xiangchen's face is embarrassed. What is Dad? PFFT tilde ha ha ha. She actually called you Dad. Xi couldn't help laughing. What's so funny? It's inexplicable. Xiangchen glanced at Xi, sat on the grass, and played with Lalula's. Xi snorted softly, and then squatted down, unable to help but stretch out her hand, wanting to pinch Lalu Lassie's little face. Ah! Lalula's exclaimed, then quickly ran behind Xiangchen, carefully looking at Xi. I'm so timid. I'm not a bad person. It's really hateful. Xi was very unhappy. She thinks she is very friendly, but she didn't expect Lalu to be so wary of herself. It's so shameless. Lalu Lassie made a face at the angry Xji, and then quickly hid behind Xiangchen, carefully looking at Xji from time to time. Seeing Lalu Lassie's lovely appearance, all the resentment in Xji's heart dissipated in an instant. Don't be afraid, Lalu Lassie, this is your mother, Xiangchen said with a smile while holding Lalu Lassie. Mum? Lalu tilted her head, her eyes covered by her hair, looking at Xji curiously. Xji's face suddenly turned blood red. She gave Xiangchen a blank look, did not refute, and remained silent. Xiangchen put Lalu into Xji's arms. Xji smiled slightly and showed kindness to Lalu Lassie, letting the nervous Lalu Lassie relax. Lalu can already sense other people's emotions, and now she can feel Xji's love for her, so she is not so resistant to Xji. In a short period of time, Lalu and Xji became acquainted, and she couldn't get down at all with Xji, and even Xiangchen ignored her. You little traitor. Xiangchen gritted his teeth, quite angry. Don't be angry, Dad, I like Dad the most. Lalu hurriedly ran to Xiangchen, hugged his leg, and started to act like a spoiled child. Xiangchen smiled, then took Lalu to meet Xiaonan and Terumi, and then vowed to practice hard, and Terumi, who would never waste a little time, slapped herself on the spot. The three girls went out to play with the cute creature Lalu. Poor Xiangchen was left directly. Gloomily glanced at the backs of the girls, and then Xiangchen left the system space. It has been several months since he came out. The entire ninja shop was covered with dust. Xiangchen frowned when he saw it, and then divided a few shadow clones to clean the ninja shop. Not long after Xiangchen opened the door of the ninja shop, Xian and the others came over. The four little Lilai all stared at Xiangchen with resentful eyes. You are too irresponsible to be a teacher. You disappeared for a few months at once, and you haven't told us yet. It's really annoying. Yui Hong accused. Cough cough. Why didn't you go to school? Xiangchen quickly changed the subject. He does seem to be a little irresponsible. I'm ashamed to say, we're on holiday now. Hongdu gave Xiangchen a contemptuous look. Ah. Is that so? Xiangchen scratched his head awkwardly. Well, have you been cultivating well in the few months I've been away? Xiangchen changed the subject again. Irresponsible teacher, don't think about changing the subject. Hongdu insisted. Even the gentle Nohara Lin couldn't help but say, Teacher, you are really too much. You disappeared for several months without saying hello to us. I didn't know we were worried about you. Don't worry. With my strength, there is no one who dares to trouble me. Xiangchen said proudly. However, the four little Lilai still refused to let him go, and kept complaining to Xiangchen. Xiangchen was also in the wrong, and could only let the four Lilai criticize him. He felt that he was a teacher who had no dignity and was actually scolded by his disciples. After a long time, after Xiangchen promised to teach them powerful ninjutsu, the four little Lilai finally stopped. Since you guys have stopped, it's my turn. Xiangchen smiled maliciously. What do you want to do? The girls were a little uneasy, always feeling that Xiangchen's smile was malicious. Of course it's to check your cultivation situation. If you can't meet the standards in my heart, don't blame me for punishing you. Xiangchen looked at the four little Lilai hugging each other in fear. What punishment? Hongdu asked cautiously. You will know by then. I feel that your strengths have not met my expectations. Are you ready to accept punishment? Xiangchen raised a playful smile on the corner of his mouth. What is the expectation? You punish us like this. It is clearly a public revenge, Yuiko said dissatisfiedly. Xiangchen glanced at Yuiko with admiration. It's still Hong Yui, who is smart, and immediately saw that I was avenging private revenge, and dared to scold your teacher. It's just outrageous. Let's see how I teach you. Including Moyuxian, who regarded Xiangchen as an idol. She also looked at Xiangchen with contempt at this time, feeling that Xiangchen's tall image in her heart had collapsed. How can you be so stingy? Nohara-rin looked at Xiangchen angrily, and even the gentle Nohara-rin was angry with Xiangchen. That's right, I'm just that stingy. You just accept your fate. Ha ha ha. Xiangchen said with a big smile. Reproach me for a few hours. If I don't give you some color, then what is the majesty of me as a teacher? Chapter 230. Xiangchen's training of the four women. I'm not convinced. Why? Yui Hong pouted, with a stubborn face. The stubborn and serious Yuiko was very unconvinced. It was obviously his fault as a teacher. He left them with no news for several months. Couldn't they vent? That's right. I'm also not convinced, and defeat the unscrupulous teacher. Hongdu raised his fist and shouted. Uxian pursed her lips and made a silent protest towards Xiangchen. Nohara-rin didn't speak, but looked at Xiangchen with dissatisfaction, and there was an unhappy expression on her little face. Xiangchen picked up the tea on the table and took a sip. Not convinced? I'm your teacher. Do I need a reason to punish you? Xiangchen had a funny expression on his face. It's abominable. Hongdu gasped heavily, wanting to raise his fist and punch Xiangchen's abominable face. Kurena Yui looked depressed, What could they do? Resist? Then you have to be able to beat it, and now it's better to accept the punishment obediently. Let's go. Xiangchen stood up and walked out of the ninja shop. The four little ones glanced at each other helplessly, then followed. I didn't expect to hold grudges like this. It doesn't look like a big man's style at all, Hongdu whispered. Hong Yui immediately supported Hongdu. Yes, not only revenge, but also unreasonable. I heard all your murmurs. Do you want me to add a meal for you? Xiangchen's voice reached Six Xiao's ears, and the frightened Hongdu and Yui quickly closed their mouths. We are all girls, teacher. Can you really do it? Why can't you do it? Xiangchen turned his head and smiled lightly. He has no morals. Curse you for not being a woman in your life, Yuiko said angrily. This disappoints you. With your teacher's unparalleled handsome face, you know that I will be immersed in peach blossoms in my life, Xiangchen said with emotion. I think the worst thing I've done in my life is to worship him as a teacher, Yuiko said silently. Coming to a training ground in Konoha, the four little boys stood in a row obediently, and stared at Xiangchen with pitiful eyes. Facing the pitiful gaze, Xiangchen was unmoved at all, and said lightly, I punish you for standing here for 5 hours this time. What do you think? The four girls looked at each other and couldn't help but feel joy in their hearts. This punishment doesn't seem to be too big. Could it be the conscience of the hateful teacher? If you have any opinions, you can put them forward, although it is of no use. The four women looked at Xiangchen speechlessly. Since it was useless, why should they bring it up? Of course we have no opinion and are willing to accept the teacher's punishment, Hongdu said with a grin. But they couldn't laugh after a while. Would Xiangchen let them go so easily? There was a smile on the corner of Xiangchen's mouth. A powerful gravitational force erupted from the ground. The gravity increased tenfold, and the four girls who were caught off guard fell to the ground. What's going on here? Yui Hong said with difficulty. She now felt 100 times heavier, and it was difficult to stand up. Hurry up and stand up. If anyone is slow, I don't mind adding a few more hours. Xiangchen took out a stool and sat down and said lightly. The four girls' cheeks were flushed red, and they didn't dare to ignore Xiangchen's words, so they quickly stood up and stood up. Xiangchen nodded with satisfaction, took out a pot of fine wine, and drank it while looking at the few lili whose foreheads were sweating. In fact, Xiangchen didn't mean to punish them on purpose. It was of great benefit to them, and it could make their bodies continue to strengthen. If it is an ordinary person, Xiangchen would not exercise like this, because it may cause irreparable damage. However, Yuiko and the others all have perfect immortal bodies. They can withstand this level of training. Under such pressure, their strength will grow faster. The four girls blushed and stared at Xiangchen angrily, but they didn't dare to speak. Now they are standing with that breath, and the breath will be released as soon as they speak, and they will no longer be able to withstand such a strong gravity. Don't stare at me. I'm also doing it for your own good. Most people don't want to enjoy this kind of treatment. Xiangchen chuckled lightly. Who would like this kind of treatment? The four girls secretly slandered in their hearts. The strong gravitational force from the ground acts on their whole body, including the internal organs. All of them can feel the extreme pressure. It was as if a mountain was pressing on them in all directions, and they could only rely on the strength of their bodies to withstand this invisible mountain. 3 hours later, the four girls were trembling, and it was difficult to even breathe, and they complained inwardly. At the same time, they couldn't help complaining about Xiangchen in their hearts. They really didn't pity them for being girls and let them suffer this kind of crime. Seeing that the girls couldn't hold on and wanted to give up, Xiangchen reminded, don't relax. Once someone falls, the punishment will have to be repeated. Damn. The four girls scolded inwardly, gritted their teeth and insisted. When I was your age, the hard work was 100 times more than yours. If you can't even hold on to this pressure, I will be too disappointed. Xiangchen said lightly. Xiangchen didn't lie. His cultivation was really crazy when he was a child. He had the strongest talent and golden fingers, and put in hundreds of times the efforts of others. That's why he has achieved today's achievements. Although the various help given by the system is very great, his efforts are the most important. If he doesn't work hard, unless the system directly instills power into him, he will still be a mess. Gritting his teeth, he finally endured for 5 hours. As soon as Xiangchen lifted the gravitational force, Yui Kane and the others lay on the ground, without the slightest image. This is a special training for you, not my revenge. Xiangchen defended himself, but no one believed him, not even Xiangchen himself. He did give Moyuxian and the others special training, but because of their scolding, he originally told them to persist for 3 hours, but Xiangchen changed it to 5 hours. Damn big villain. What kind of special training is to punish us? Hongdu breathed a sigh of relief and said angrily. It seems that you still have strength, Hongdu. Do you want to come back for a few more hours? Xiangchen said lightly. It's fine when I don't speak. Hongdu rolled his eyes and fell to the ground again. After they rested for a while, Xiangchen asked them to get up to eat, and then started the afternoon practice. Is this going to kill us? Yuiko complained. In the face of Hong Yui's complaint, Xiangchen didn't pay attention to it at all. After cultivating all day, the four girls didn't even want to move. If you like this audiobook, Subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.